If they were bleeding for 3 days in a row, they would have to change bandages every hour or every 2 hours. I don't think they would show up at work in that full power.
We feel more sexy, we feel more attractive, and we actually are more attractive because of all those of this beauty hormone, because the estrogen is on its peak as well.
There were times when I felt ashamed of this, or I felt like I'm lazy, or I felt guilty. But you know what? We shouldn't do that. And now I'm celebrating it because you can have a rest and you can get prepared for what's coming next.
We can say that the men have 4 women or 4 wives at home.
Exactly.
Yeah, right?
It's
because
four
you see
different women.
4 different women
Yeah.
during each cycle.
Welcome to Femisticated podcast. My name is Lucia. I am here with Nina, my business partner and co-host. Hi, Nina. How are you?
Hello, Lucia. I'm good, and you?
Very good. For those who are listening us first time, Femisticated podcast is all about women's world, but it doesn't mean that men cannot listen. If they do, they will crack the code and it can definitely improve their relationship. Femisticated podcast brings different point of views on how to stay in feminine flow, in feminine energy, succeed in this world full of sharks, and avoid getting crazy. Even in this world full of feminism that is a little bit twisted all the way around. Today, me and Nina, we want to talk about something very special. And I'm happy that we are doing this episode today because we want to embrace the women superpowers that coming from their cycles. And when we say cycles, we talk about entire month, different phases, and all that women are going through these different phases, and how we can use it to our full potential, succeed, and also achieve our goals without getting burnout, without being tired, without getting this huge fatigue, because it is possible. And we try to share with you all of this today.
Thank you, Lucia. Again, a beautiful introduction to this topic that I believe it might be actually the most important episode that we record.
Very important for every woman and also men. I hope that if you are listening and you are a woman, you will pass this to your spouse, husband, friends, because I think they all need to hear this.
Yes, it is very important because we are all aware of our cycles as women, but mostly only when we have our period, or we are aware of our reproductive system when we are pregnant or trying to get pregnant, but it's not something that we consciously connect to. Talking from my own experience, I never connected really to my body and to my own, let's say, feminine reproductive system. Only when I would have my period, I would be very much aware of that, and it would be something to be annoyed from, to try to hide, to be ashamed of, even
we
sometimes.
are all annoyed all the time
Yes.
from this, but I think we should embrace it. We should know how to use it to our advantage and actually get some benefits from this all.
Yes, because when we think about our cycles, we also very often think about it as something annoying and very unfortunate. We even have this thought about being cursed as a woman because we have this, but it's something that's very overlooked because still women are a little bit ashamed about talking about it. Sometimes it's not even taken seriously. So I want to start the episode by bringing awareness to your womb space and to your entire pelvic floor and entire reproductive systems.
Let's celebrate it. Let's celebrate it on this
Yes.
podcast. Let's talk about how important role of woman is in this society, because without us having these cycles that nobody talks about, without us even having this period that is a result of not having a babies, but the cycle is still there, there wouldn't be a new life. There wouldn't be anybody. I think it's very important, Nina, and you can go deeper into this subject.
So this is a topic I'm very passionate about. And as I said, I never consciously connected to this space within myself, which is the womb. And when we talk about the womb and the womb space, I just want to say that this is not only for the women that actually have the physical womb, but also for the women that are in the reproductive age. We all as women have this energetic space that is our womb that has a very deep spiritual meaning, because it is the new life, or like the new soul that enters through this portal to this world. Some women, they have gone through something that they have removed. but it still exists on an energetic level. This is something that's valid for all women regardless, because this space is actually the seat of our feminine creativity. And we as women, we are naturally creative, we're intuitive being. This is like a physical space in our body through which we can access this deep wisdom. And as well, it's very important to be aware of this space, because this is not something that we consciously connect to.
As we said this many times before, that we have to listen to our body, we have to go back to our body. And if you remember, I was asking you, but what it means to go back to our body. And you said we have to listen all these signals, we have to listen all what's happening, and then accommodate all this world around us. We need to celebrate that we are women. It's not always like that, because there is this shame around this topic. And even, I don't know if you got into this situation, when I go to the store and I'm buying these products, the tampons or anything that's connected to period, I feel like it's something shameful, and I don't even know where is this coming from. You're standing at the counter, there is a man behind you, and you feel, there is some shame inside of us. When I was growing up and I got my first period, I think I was 12, my mom really explained me all the process. She explained me what's gonna happen. She wasn't hiding it, and she also explained it to me the way that she celebrated it. When I got period, she said, "Welcome to women's world. Welcome. You became a woman right now." She did celebrated it with me, but despite this fact, inside of me, I feel this shame when it comes to the period and going to buy products or something like that. So is it the same for you? What do you think should change, and how should we actually break this shame about this?
First of all, I really want to celebrate your mom, because what a beautiful story. And I just wish that
My mom is perfect.
Yes,
I love you, mom.
and it's so important for women to have such a beautiful introduction.
Yeah.
Like, I was lucky as well enough, because my mom was very much aware of the subject and explained everything to me. But I also recognize that most of the women, they don't have the same awareness when their first period come, and it can be actually something very traumatic to them. I remember a friend from my childhood that came from a very conservative religious family that came to our house crying that something is wrong with her, and she got her first period, and her mom just would refuse to explain to her what's happening.
Oh my God.
Because
so bad.
Yes, because we have this taboo, there's this taboo or this shame surrounding like how our body works, how our feminine body works, that we are ashamed. This kind of shame is ingrained into us from a young age, and it can come from our culture. It can come from religion, from the way we grew up in a society.
Yeah. Imagine that also men would be educated about women's cycle. They would be educated about different phases, about what's going on actually. Why is it so important? And they would celebrate it on highest level. I think the society would look differently. Maybe the conditions for women would be different as well. Because, and somebody who might listen right now would say, so what? It's there, it's natural. You having it since you are 12, so you have to be used to it. It doesn't mean that if we're going through this every single month, that we don't feel pain, that we don't feel exhaustion, that we don't feel all of this fatigue and everything. Can you imagine that men would bleed for 3 days in a row, and they would have
not survive?
And no, we're not making fun of anyone here, because they cannot understand this. And I got it. They were not educated, and they cannot get it because they didn't go through it. But imagine they would bleed 3 days in a row, and they would have to change these bandages every 2 hours.
I think our society would look completely different, and the way our world operates would also look completely different. We would not be having 5 days a week, 9 to 5 jobs probably. No, but jokes aside, this is something that we are very much aware of.
When you got your period and you got these mood swings and stuff, sometimes happens that your spouse or husband or whoever says, "Oh my God, you again on your period." But this shouldn't be this way. They shouldn't even mention it this way. They should just do something nice for us. There need to be the education for men, for boys in this society. Otherwise, nothing will change, and it will stay taboo forever. I have 2 kids, 2 boys, 10 and 5, and I do educate them about entire cycle. They do see me in different mood swings, and they had a questions. So, instead of me telling them everything is okay, I'm fine, and this is me, this is the way it is, I told them why I am like this and what they can do to make it better for me. And they also giving me massages, and
that's
they
amazing.
just asking me if I want a tea or something like that. And they just 10 and 5. Imagine every single family who has a boys would raise them this way.
That would be amazing. Definitely an easier way for women, for sure. And I just want to mention one more thing. Very often when a woman is very much in her power, maybe she gets a little bit angry about something, or basically she's just very firm. Sometimes the man would say, "Oh, are you on your period or what?" It's some kind of like mockery. Why are you like this? Are you on your period?
Yeah,
we have this.
shouldn't.
So we have this back of our minds that if a woman is acting on crazy, she's on her period or something.
They always
So
connect it,
it always
right?
have this kind of negative connotation to it.
But it shouldn't be like that, because you can have these mood swings also for different reasons, like they do. And the fact that it's connected only to this one thing, it's very strange, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be that way. Yeah.
Let's say that for men, it's a very different world, because the way that we function as a society, it's very much like the male hormones function, because
Yeah.
the testosterone has a 24-hour cycle, and it's the highest in the morning and is the lowest in the evening. And guess what? This actually perfectly reflects the way we work and function in the society.
But we said this before, we cannot function, and we shouldn't function the same way. And yes, we're talking about equality from the point of opportunities and from the point of the same salaries as men, because women are very smart individuals and they can function in amazing way. If they are not feeling well, there should be conditions for them to feel better. And I think that there is also the company in Dubai that gave a women's menstrual paid leave, not free. We should celebrate this company. This should be an entire world, cross entire world. And I think in Europe, there are also companies who's doing this. And why not?
Yeah, actually in Spain, they have a law that women that are menstruating, they're entitled to 3 to 5 days off in a month for the period leave. And there are so many other countries that they do have the same, or even 1 or 2 days. I believe it's Italy. I believe even in Philippines as well. They have the same role. So it's something very interesting. And I am very happy about this positive way forward, that we actually start to acknowledge that we as women going through something very different than the men do.
Yeah.
And we actually deserve to have this time that we can recharge. And then when we get to our, let's say, the different side of our cycle, then we will definitely pick up the pace.
Exactly, and be even triple productive, then could be even more productive than men at the phase. And also, now you said that there is in Spain, they gave 3 to 5 days off when you are on period. And I can imagine that there are men who can complain about this if they don't understand. And it's not their fault. I don't blame them. They don't understand how painful this could be. And as I said, if they were bleeding for 3 days in a row, they would have to change bandages every hour or every 2 hours. I don't think they would show up at work in that full power as they do always. That's very important. But also in some religion, when we got to the period stage, in some religion, it's something unclean and shameful. And I remember our conversation about some religion that they don't let women to enter the kitchen when they are on their period, or touch stuff, or sleep in the same room. I think that they cannot pray, right? In some religion.
So, yes, I would say in many main religions, like pray is actually like women that are on their menstruation, they actually not allowed to pray because their prayers would not be accepted and during this time. And we are not religious experts, and we don't want to.
We're not.
We don't want to take any assumptions. But at the same time, it actually we need to think about how that affects us as a woman, as a whole, and the way we see our bodies.
And as
because
entire
if we
society.
because if we see our periods as shameful or as something bad, then obviously we will think about ourselves as our feminine bodies as something to be ashamed of. Which is actually the other way around, because literally every single person that ever existed on this earth came through the woman, came through her
that's
womb.
what we said, and we need to repeat it.
Exactly, it came through the cycle as well. The period is the functioning of the cycle as well.
Part of it, and doesn't matter.
So it is not something dirty or something unclean or unpure. Actually, this is what we want to bring like life.
Definitely
about.
not from our perspective, and definitely it's something we should celebrate. We should bring this awareness, if possible, to entire world, Nina. So as long as we are alive, we're gonna do this. Either somebody likes it or not.
Yeah, and I also want to, talking about the periods, I just want to mention something that's very much on my heart, and that is that so many girls, like in the school age, that live in developing countries, they very often are not able to actually attend school because they don't have the hygienic supplies that they need to in order to go to school and be in the classroom. So this is something very sad.
That's true. It should be our next step, right? Yeah. Let's
get
jump
to it.
into the cycles, and let's jump into the phases of the cycle, because as we said, we need to embrace each phase. Just for the beginning, we are not medical experts. We will not go deep into all of these medical terms, but we will just to try and show you that in each phase of the cycle, you can function a little bit different way, and you can feel energetic. You can still feel good because you're not pushing through the same way as you normally would if you are not aware of this.
Yes, 100%. Many of us, I would say most of us, if not all of us, are aware that the cycle is something that allows the pregnancy, because the cycle is all about that the egg is released during ovulation. And if this egg is not being fertilized, then we have the period. So this is what the entire cycle is about. There are so many different hormones in play, and they rise and they fall during the different phases of the cycle. And
they mess up with all our moods, ladies,
and
these hormones.
And this is why we have some extra powers as well, because some hormones actually, when they rise, they give us some extra glow. And when they fall, we need to be aware of that, because sometimes we have different moods and we don't really understand why is it happening. So actually, when we understand a little bit more about the hormones and how they change during the cycle, it's actually something very helpful.
So let's jump in the first phase. I never remember the name of those phases. I have the app for it right now, and I'm checking it regularly because me and Nina, we do plan our activities around the cycle. Sometimes happens that we have to replan it and we have to do things we don't want, for example, on period time or before period, because something happened the week before. But this happens like 20% of our time. So we going by the rule 80-20. And 80% of our time, we planning our activities around our cycle. So we are more productive, and we also in a good mood when we're doing this podcast for you. We're not sitting here like zombies on the chairs. First, I don't remember the name of it, but you can remember it based on the song, for example. So first, after the period, after 3 days, but it starts the day of the period, when you start to feel better, I would say is this song. Pretty woman walking down the street, pretty woman. I think that you can remember it by this song because we do have lots of estrogen, right?
Yes, so this is the first phase of our cycle, which is called actually the follicle phase, but it's very hard to remember. And it's actually what happens during this.
I never remember this. I never, ever.
So actually what happens during this phase, we have those in our ovaries, we have those follicles in which the eggs matures and gets ready to be released inside the uterus to be fertilized, possibly. The very important hormone in this phase is the estrogen.
So what's happening to us? How this estrogen hormone helping us? Right?
The estrogen is the beauty hormone. So so it's the hormone that makes your skin like more plump. Hair allows more hydration. Exactly. It's also a hormone that increases your energy levels, so you feel great. And when I think about this phase of the cycle, because talking about cycle, I just want to mention one very important thing, that we are all nature, and whatever is reflected outside is also within us. So we can think as well of the cycle. If you can actually compare it to, for example, the different seasons of the nature, because like we are cyclical as women, but the nature is also cyclical.
Which season are we at?
We are now in spring.
Spring.
So if you think about spring,
talking about spring now.
Yes. So when you talk about spring, you put all those seeds into the ground and they start to sprout, and then the flowers start to come out and they're about to bloom. And
nice.
there's this beautiful energy of renew, something new coming, something completely new, completely fresh.
So in reality, when we are putting these seeds, it means that you are in your creative energy. Ladies, if you are at work, do the creative work during the first phase, during the spring phase. Pretty woman walking down the street phase, because you feel amazing about yourself. You're confident. When you're confident, you can create amazing things. And you also ready for networking events, right? Because you're more social, you're more open. And whatever you want to create, do is during this phase. From the spring, we go to a second phase of our cycle, which is even better. Which is even better. What was the song?
I'm sexy and I know it.
Yeah. So this is the phase where this estrogen is even higher, right? It's on its peak. And we can say that you are even more magical. You have this magical power to attract things. So you have to use it to the fullest potential. And there is also testosterone on the rise, which means that you getting this strength as well.
Yeah.
So you can, for example, if you're doing exercises during this period, you can go to the gym and lift more heavy weights than you do normally. I think it's also good phase for leadership skills to be improved and for going out, more networking events when you are at work. So what else? What else can we do actually during this
We just need
phase?
to mention that this phase is called ovulation.
Yes.
This is a very this is a very important
Oh
phase.
yes, I forgot.
And most of the women are aware of their ovulation. They are trying to get pregnant, but it's something that we should be aware of because this is really the best time of our cycle. Because as you said, we have this testosterone on the rise, which gives us more sex drive, so we feel more sexy, we feel more attractive, and we actually are more attractive because of all those of this beauty hormone, because the estrogen is on its peak as well. As you said, like you feel attractive, you feel good, you have lots of energy. It's a good time of the month
to do some planning as
some
well,
new things.
some planning,
yes, as well.
and continue in your projects, finish them actually to prepare for next phase of the cycle.
Yes, so it's actually when if we compare it again to the season, it would be the summer season.
Summer season.
When everything is in full
We
bloom.
love summer. We love summer.
Imagine like everything is shining, the sun is shining, everything, the flowers are blooming. It's this time that it's nice and it's hot and you have so
And you
much
feel
good
great.
and positive energy. You feel great and you feel sexy. And
I'm sexy and I know it. Okay, let's leave this phase right now because we have to jump into the third phase. Which song would we choose for this?
Hello from the other side. Adele, like, sorry, we cannot sing. Sorry,
Yes.
Adele, but we love your song.
Excuse our singing, but you can remember it's Hello from the Other Side. Okay, so this phase is not that attractive, but you still can use it for activities to be done at work. You don't have to. You can finish up on your projects this time, and you can start to pick up the seeds.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
I mean,
we are in the autumn season.
You are in the autumn
And
season.
the Luteal phase for those listeners that want to have the name.
See, I never remember this. Thank you, Nina. You are here because I wouldn't even mention ovulation by its right name. But yes, thank you. You're here. Okay, so what we can do during this phase? What's happening with our hormones then?
So in this phase, we have a new hormone on the rise, which is the progesterone. So in the beginning of this phase, this hormone actually peaks.
Okay.
And what it does, it's like a chill hormone, right? Like the estrogen, you can think about it about the energy pill, and this is more like a chill pill.
I don't think I feel chilled in this time.
But this is in the very beginning when this hormone's on the rise. So it gives you more calm. You become more introspective.
I don't even notice this phase of chilling.
So it is. So if we think about it as the autumn, it is the time to harvest. So it's time to harvest our hard work during the spring and the summer.
Okay.
So it's good time to focus on our task and complete them. To also reflect on the how far we have gone and to finish everything that's left unfinished.
Some analysis.
Yes,
we can
exactly. Do some
go
analytical
back.
work. It's good time to be more present with yourself. To start going a little bit inwards. Maybe it's not the best time for some intense networking, but it's a very good phase for for finishing up and for planning. But then towards the end, when we are coming towards the period, this is the time that both the progesterone and the estrogen start to drop very rapidly. And this is the famous PMS, right? That we all know about.
We all.
When we start to feel something is wrong. And I always know that once I start to feel depressed or I'm like in a really bad mood,
down and
down, and I feel like I have this heavy feeling on me.
But how we can go through this phase, because it's there and we said we're gonna embrace it. So how we can do this? There is lots of tools we can use, right?
I think first of all is again the awareness, because if you want to change something, you need to be aware of it. If you are aware of that and you actually track your cycle,
now we are.
Yes, then something clicks and okay, it's not like the world is going to end. It's just I'm entering my pre-period phase. And you feel so much better because you feel relief. Okay, so actually there's nothing going wrong really.
Every single month we remind ourselves that there is nothing wrong with us, that this is just the phase and it will pass and it's part of our nature and we need to celebrate it. I would suggest to go more deep work on ourselves, maybe more breathing exercises that chill
Slow
you
down,
out. Because if you feel angry, you either go outside and walk. If it's too warm, because we're living in Dubai, you just go to the gym and walk there. But if it's nice weather, you can go out to the nature. Then you can also breathe a lot. There is lots of breathing exercises around the platform, so you can use it to your advantage. Also, meditation helps. When you meditate, you go to different places by yourself and it takes you to very nice places. So I think this phase should be also a little bit about this. And
pamper yourself, give yourself some extra love, go for a massage,
warm bath,
be self-compassionate. So even if you have this outburst of anger for apparently no reason, just be compassionate with yourself and love yourself through it and pamper yourself more.
Exactly. And then we have the last bit.
the one that we all know about.
Although we call it period, and me and Nina were thinking about this song actually, and we couldn't find it.
I think everyone has to pick their own.
You have to pick your own song for this phase because it's very hard to actually even to express it through the song.
So we are entering the phase.
I asked my son about this and I was like, I'm looking for a period song because me and Nina, we didn't find it. And my son was like, there is one song, like, could it be anything like connected? And I said, yes. So he was like, I see the shadows in my room. I don't know how it sounds, but
so cute.
It's like, I see the shadows in my room. I was like, it's so cute. Yes, I'm going to use this, but I don't know how to sing the song. Thank you very much to my son that he just embracing it with me, actually. He's aware of it. And I think, as I said, all the boys in today's society should know all about mom's troubles or everything that's going on, because then they can understand more, and when they are grown up, they can help their wives to over all of this time, right?
So this period phase is something that we very often view negatively, but we want to give our listeners some reasons why this is actually can be embraced as a beautiful and very powerful phase. Again, if we think about the nature, we are in winter. So the winter is a time that the nature is like retracting and you go inwards. It's a time for reflection, to do even some maybe spiritual work, because this is where your intuitive powers are more highlighted.
Then you have
and you
to
are
use
more receptive as well. Yes, so it's a very powerful phase. And actually there are some indigenous cultures that actually use the menstruating woman as an oracle. They ask them like advice as a connection to the spiritual world.
Nice.
Which is very amazing. Yes. So there are actually not all the cultures view the period negatively. I just want to say.
I have the tip for all men. If your woman is on period, take her to your new business partner you're picking, and she will tell you if you are doing the right thing or the wrong thing. I think you should use it. And also women should use it when we go to the working environment. They should use it as an advantage, be intuitive and to know either to go left or right, or they should just go a different direction. So ladies, use it as your intuition is on highest level during your period. And I think you mentioned when we talk that there is some culture that where women doesn't have to do anything during the period and men is in charge of everything?
Yes,
They are resting.
I don't know if I'm wrong, but I believe it was Jainism that the men actually take over
Religion,
some responsibilities of the women, and I think this is very beautiful.
It's
because,
very beautiful,
yes.
During this period, you don't feel yourself.
time
You don't
to-
feel
it's time to
well.
rest, yes.
So you go inside of yourself. And I do this for years. I have 1 to 3 days being just with myself, no matter what's it's going on around me. And my husband is really taking care of everything else. He's in charge also of kids because he sees that I just resign and I'm not doing anything special. But when I should cook, I don't cook. I just order food or my kids just make themselves something. And there were times when I felt ashamed of this, or I felt like I'm lazy, or I felt guilty. But you know what? We shouldn't do that. And now I'm celebrating it because you can have a rest and you can get prepared for what's coming next, because you will have to use all your energy and all your power in the next phases. As we said, you can use it to the fullest potential, and this rest is needed. And I think we can survive like this much longer without the burnout and without exhaustion when we will do our activities around the cycle.
Yes, definitely. And the period is a very good time to actually recharge, because this is when you are recharging all your energies and regenerating for the next phase.
Exactly.
So it's not something that we should push through, that we should be really forcing ourselves. But if you have to force yourself, like, just make sure that you give yourself some extra time to recharge and some extra care as well.
We didn't mention this in connection to relationships, but if men knows all of these phases and they would understand what's happening in our body, that we have this hormone that gives us this glow, and then we have this hormone that gives us the strength, and then it suddenly drops and it's not our fault and the moods swings start to hit us, I think there would be much less misunderstanding between men and women on different levels, at work, as a colleagues, in families and relationships and everywhere.
We can say that the men have 4 women or 4 wives at home.
Exactly.
Yeah, right?
It's
Because you see
women.
4 different
women.
women during each cycle.
Yeah, and 4, and sometimes might be even more, because I don't think that my husband has this chilled wife ever at home. But yeah,
At least they cannot complain it's boring, right?
exactly. See, nothing is. If it would be boring, then what? I mean, they would look for something else. Not boring.
I think 4 is enough.
4 is enough. I think 4 is enough. I think we should end it here. For those who would like to have more materials or more information about our episodes, you can go to Femisticated community. We create community of women who share their stories with each other, who lift each other up, and we are there for you. We adding all episodes in our community. You're gonna have it up front, and also you can, if you come on, why cannot I do it today? You're gonna have these bonus materials every time over there, and soon we will start a masterclasses in our community as well. There is lots of to come, and I hope that you enjoyed our episode as much as we did, and I hope that you're gonna pass this to as many people as you can. Thank you, Nina.
Thank you for listening, and we are looking forward to be with you with the next episode.
Exactly.
Take care.
To the next one.
To the
Bye-bye.
next one. Bye-bye.